Wasn't talking to Timbaland, or I think her and Missy fell out as well.
I was in love with him. I said, but I'm not, she's just a baby. I'm old. I said to myself, I'm just gonna beat her.
So there you have it, shit happens. Just make sure the plane you on is bigger than you carry your baggage.
Jay-Z is a prophet. I don't know if y'all read the Bible, or any scholars of the Bible.
Ginuwine is finally opening up about Aaliyah's tragic passing, and what he's revealing is casting a new, uneasy light on some of the men who were closest to her in the music industry. For years, Ginuwine stayed largely silent about what really happened behind the scenes. Everyone knew he and Aaliyah shared a special bond, but there was always this tension no one could fully explain. Now he's speaking candidly about how things shifted around her, how the industry operated, and the unsettling influence of certain figures in her circle. Based on what Ginuwine shared, speculation is swirling, and people are pointing fingers at a few men in Aaliyah's orbit, including Timbaland, Jay-Z, and her uncle, Barry Hankerson. Hankerson is the same man who reportedly introduced Aaliyah to R. Kelly when she was just 12. Later on, both Jay-Z and Timbaland allegedly pursued interactions with Aaliyah in ways that made her uncomfortable. Shockingly, Timbaland even admitted he had feelings for her when she was only 16, later marrying a woman who reminded him of Aaliyah. The real heartbreak, though, lies in the lack of a support system around her. Aaliyah, a teenager navigating an industry dominated by powerful men, executives, producers, gatekeepers, was largely unprotected, even by the adults closest to her. Allegedly, her own mother made inappropriate comments and seemed to encourage Aaliyah to leverage her looks at an age when she was far too young to understand the consequences. This tragedy also reflects a broader issue: the adultification of Black girls in the music industry. Aaliyah was not alone. Young artists like Monica, Brandy, and others in the 90s were pressured to sing about experiences far beyond their years, navigating themes that no child should have to process. Ginuwine's revelations underscore a deeper problem in the music world. The system itself often exploits and breaks young artists, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and sometimes even physically, leaving them vulnerable in ways the public rarely sees.
There is a theory that Aaliyah's death in the early 2000s was actually set forth by higher-ups. Known fact that Aaliyah became disillusioned with the music industry, so much so that she was prepared to blow the whistle on higher-ups and executives in the music industry in order to save other young female artists from the pain that she experienced.
For years, fans were told that Timbaland and Missy Elliott were like Aaliyah's big brother and sister, her trusted confidants in the industry. But what often gets overlooked is that, in the months leading up to her tragic death, Aaliyah had actually distanced herself from them. Ginuwine confirmed this himself, revealing that she had also stopped speaking to him. He hinted that the tension stemmed from complicated dynamics behind the scenes at their record label, painting a picture of a young artist navigating not just fame, but the pressures and conflicts of an industry that wasn't always looking out for her best interests.
We weren't talking when she passed. She wasn't talking. Unfortunately, we weren't talking when she passed. She wasn't talking to Timbaland, or I think her and Missy fell out as well. It's just the business, and when you're young, people can separate you, you know, and you don't know how or why. You just are.
For years, fans were told that Timbaland and Missy Elliott were like Aaliyah's big brother and sister, her trusted confidants in the industry. But what often gets overlooked is that, in the months leading up to her tragic death, Aaliyah had actually distanced herself from them. Ginuwine confirmed this himself, revealing that she had also stopped speaking to him. He hinted that the tension stemmed from complicated dynamics behind the scenes at their record label, painting a picture of a young artist navigating not just fame, but the pressures and conflicts of an industry that wasn't always looking out for her best interests.
Aaliyah, who's her uncle, told me to go up to Detroit and hear her sing. Once I got up to Detroit, I didn't have to hear her sing because she was glowing. I knew she had it. As soon as she started singing, that verified it. And from there, we became here, and everything is all good. Once I got up to Detroit, I didn't have to hear her sing because she was glowing. I knew she had it. As soon as she started singing, that verified it. And from there, we became here, and everything is all good.
This is where the dots really start to connect. Looking closely at the timeline, Ginuwine's hints suggest that much of the tension and changes in Aaliyah's life trace back to her uncle, Barry Hankerson. Ginuwine himself was signed to Hankerson's label, Blackground Records, and Hankerson also played a major role in the early careers of Timbaland and Missy Elliott. But the story takes a darker turn. Multiple reliable accounts confirm that Hankerson introduced Aaliyah to R. Kelly when she was only around 12 years old. At the time, Kelly was working under Hankerson as one of his artists, and he quickly positioned himself as Aaliyah's mentor. He went on to write her first album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, recorded when she was just 14, a record that would forever mark the beginning of both her meteoric rise and a deeply troubling chapter in her life.
I'm gonna give up a little secret. I was in love with her. I said, but I'm not, she's just a baby. I'm old. I said to myself, I'm just gonna be her brother. Oh man, I was fighting a big war. But I love Aaliyah.
Tim felt a different kind of magic when he spotted a young marketing exec at an industry event in Jamaica.
When I first saw her, I said, that's a girl I'm gonna marry because she reminded me of Aaliyah.
She did resemble Aaliyah the way her hairstyle was, and it really attracted him.
I thought I saw a ghost.
Fast forward to 2021 and R. Kelly's criminal trial, which shed harrowing new light on just how vulnerable Aaliyah had been. Kelly's former backup dancer, Angela, testified that he began mistreating Aaliyah before she even turned 18. Angela described how Kelly exerted strict control over Aaliyah and the other young dancers, never allowing them to leave the hotel while on tour. On one occasion, during a stop in Washington, D.C., Angela recounted that she, Aaliyah, and a group of girls went to a 7-Eleven. When they returned, Kelly allegedly punished them by demanding they sleep with him. "Robert told all of us we would have to put out," Angela testified, explaining that Kelly often framed sexual abuse as a twisted form of paying their dues. The horror didn't stop there. Vibe magazine later obtained the fake IDR Kelly used to illegally marry Aaliyah when she was only 15. Other witnesses claimed the marriage happened because Kelly believed Aaliyah was pregnant and feared legal consequences. Even those closest to Aaliyah saw the danger she faced. Her former boyfriend, Dame Dash, later said that had anyone protected her, countless other girls might not have suffered at Kelly's hands. Tragically, Aaliyah had no one to safeguard her. Her parents were allegedly paid off by Kelly to remain silent about the illegal marriage. According to the surviving R. Kelly documentary, Aaliyah's family made a deal with Kelly. He would grant them the rights to his first 3 albums, and in exchange, they agreed not to pursue legal action. They also reportedly signed an NDA, later uncovered by journalist Jim DeRogatis, which chillingly detailed the extent of the abuse Aaliyah endured. On top of this betrayal by those who should have protected her, Aaliyah was surrounded by older men in the industry who allegedly exploited and obsessed over her. Dame Dash claimed that Jay-Z pursued her more aggressively than anyone else, while Timbaland himself admitted he developed a dangerous infatuation with Aaliyah at just 16. Shockingly, he later married Monique Idole because she reminded him of Aaliyah, a stark illustration of how deeply he fixated on her.
Valentino giving me super style. That's not what I'm going to do. Yeah, I could have put up movies. I could have showed the R. Kelly video that everybody's talking about, made fun of it, and said, yo, Jay's hanging out. When Jay and them was in there doing Basketball Boys, you can't tell me Jay didn't see a 14-year-old girl come in the studio and sit on R. Kelly's lap. No. You can't tell me, you won't sit here and tell me that working on that album, that he ain't never seen no 14-year-old girl come in the vicinity?
My belief is that anybody who's worked with him and been in his sight.
And I pay for him. But if I sit there and did an album about women with him, I'm definitely maybe indulgent. He had to be indulgent. So
what makes this story even more disturbing is that, according to multiple industry sources, both Jay-Z and Timbaland were reportedly aware of the abuse Aaliyah suffered at R. Kelly's hands, and yet they continued to pursue her. Jay-Z, for example, went on to collaborate with Kelly on the album The Best of Both Worlds, starting just months after Aaliyah's death. The controversy doesn't stop there. In an old radio interview on The Wendy Williams Show, rapper Nas alleged that Jay-Z not only knew about R. Kelly's exploitation of young women, but may have been complicit in some way. These revelations paint a harrowing picture of an industry where power, fame, and desire often overshadowed the safety and well-being of a young artist who desperately needed protection.
He's a prophet. I don't know if y'all read the Bible, of any scholars of the Bible. God sent him. He raised me in the music business. He was so prolific, so wise beyond his age, that I was just amazed.
As for Timbaland, following Aaliyah's passing, he crafted a public image of himself as her protective big brother. But looking back, there's little evidence that he intervened or spoke out when the troubling events surrounding her were unfolding. In fact, he remained closely aligned with Jay-Z, publicly praising him in interviews and even going so far as to call Jay-Z a prophet sent by God. This raises serious questions about the role of powerful industry figures in Aaliyah's life and whether her safety and well-being were ever truly a priority for those who claim to care about her.
So there you have it, shit happens. Just make sure the plane you on is bigger than you carry your baggage.
Talent and influence are one thing, but comparing Jay-Z to Moses? You don't even need to be religious to see how disturbing that is. Adding to the controversy, for years, fans have speculated that Jay-Z may have had some connection to Aaliyah's death. Some believe he even referenced her passing in his song Glory, pointing to the lyric, "Just make sure the plane you're on is bigger than your carry-on baggage," as a possible veiled nod to the tragedy. These allegations, whether true or not, underscore the intense scrutiny and suspicion that continues to surround the powerful men in Aaliyah's world, and the tragic circumstances she endured. The official explanation for Aaliyah's plane crash is that the aircraft was overloaded, but many people have never accepted that narrative, especially after reports emerged suggesting she was allegedly sedated and carried onto the plane unconscious. Looking back at her life, it's painfully clear that Aaliyah had almost no one truly protecting her during her most vulnerable years. This reality completely overturns the familiar industry family story that fans had been told. She was thrust into the music world at an incredibly young age, with her career overseen by her uncle, who then handed her over to R. Kelly, a situation that ultimately spiraled into one of the most disturbing scandals in music history. Meanwhile, her own parents allegedly accepted money from Kelly in exchange for their silence. And then there were the other powerful men in the industry who presented themselves as her mentors, protectors, or big brothers. Looking back now, it's painfully evident that most of them had ulterior motives, leaving a young Aaliyah isolated and exploited in a world that should have nurtured her talent, not endangered her.